In this video, we are going to be going over drifting and power management on a gamepad. I'm using an Xbox controller here, just a typical standard Xbox One controller, nothing particularly fancy. We want to go over a few control options before we begin. A few key ones: we want to make sure throttle down to stop boosting is not checked. We want to make sure drift input mode is set to hold, and we want advanced power management. So before we begin, we want to get a pretty good charge on most of our systems here. So something important to know about our button mapping. My best advice is to put your power management on either the face buttons, so that would be X, A, B, Y, or triangle, circle, square, X if you're playing on an Xbox controller, or on the directional pad. Whichever one you choose, you want to make sure that it is opposite of the stick that you use, mainly for your pitch, mostly for pitch. So the way I do it on mine is I've got pitch, and I've got yaw on my left control stick. So in this case, I will be using my face buttons. So I have B for weapons, A for my shields, and X for my engines. So it's pretty important because you want to make sure that they're opposite of each other, so when you start doing some crazy stuff, you're not having to take your thumb off of your main control button so you can keep pitch angle while you drift. And the pitch axis is how I do most of my evasion. You can theoretically drift on the yaw axis as well. It becomes a little difficult to roll while you're... Actually, I am doing it right here, so I actually had to completely... now I switched my grip, so now I'm using my index finger and my middle finger on my face buttons. So that would limit your ability to pull a trigger for lasers, but you do what you gotta do when it comes to getting evasive. Anyway, to demonstrate a few key techniques here. First of all, you want to make sure that you keep your throttle all the way down, pretty much at all times, unless you have to do some other maneuvers. For instance, if you keep your throttle medium, if you're not drifting or anything, you just want the best aiming ability, you keep it in the middle. But I won't go too far into that. This is single player stuff. But so to initiate a drift,
Never gets old.
press and hold. So one of the big techniques that experienced players like to use is called a dead drift. So a dead drift basically means that you're pulling all your power out of your engines. So the way this works is I usually keep power in lasers and fully in engines, and once you initiate your drift, then you pull all power out, and it creates a prolonged drift effect. So see how I'm still drifting, still drifting, still drifting, still drifting. That's how you know you've done it correctly. Because under normal circumstances, here's what a normal drift looks like. It pretty much ends not long after you initiate it. See how much shorter that is? Yeah, see the drift has already ended. So then we dead drift. It just is so much more effective. Still drifting, still drifting. You gotta be very careful when doing this because you will find yourself closer to objects than you realize. You don't realize exactly how far you're drifting. So this mechanic works for pretty much all the systems in reducing their charge delay. The big one is shield skipping. Shield skipping is how we reduce the regen delay for shields once you start getting shot at. And it works similarly to dead drifting in the sense that you pull all power out of your shields back into your other systems. And then you instantly refill your shields, and then your shields will start coming back immediately instead of having a delay. And the big one is for shields, but this technique also reduces delay on all of your other systems too. It's just not quite as drastic. Or it could just be all in my head, I don't know. But I'm pretty much always, whenever I'm mobile, I'm always shuffling power through all my systems, in and out. Anyway, I feel like that crash is a good way to wrap things up. I think I've gone over at least the basics of advanced power management. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.